The senator from Louisiana.
Mr. President, with me today is one of my colleagues from my office, Mr. Will Petrie, who has helped me immensely on this issue. I want to talk just for a few minutes, Mr. President, about digital assets. Some people refer to them as crypto or cryptocurrency. The Senate, Mr. President, with me today is one of my colleagues from my office, Mr. Will Petrie, who has helped me immensely on this issue. I want to talk just for a few minutes, Mr. President, about digital assets. Some people refer to them as crypto or cryptocurrency. The Senate Banking Committee is in the process, as we should be, of considering market structure legislation for digital assets, for Bitcoin, for crypto. And it's important because there's an enormous amount of confusion out there. I remember when blockchain technology started, many of us do. Today, 1 in 5 Americans own cryptocurrency. Its growth has been nothing short of breathtaking. But as oftentimes happens when you have an innovation, it creates enormous confusion on the way that the subject of that innovation integrates with the federal government. And that's the case here. Those who are in the cryptocurrency business and in the blockchain technology business don't know who to talk to in the federal government. The Securities and Exchange Commission has announced under President Biden that it has jurisdiction over digital assets, and so did the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC. And there's been a lot of litigation, and there have been a lot of court cases, and it's been enormously confusing. And those in the crypto business understandably have the reaction, look, we don't mind being regulated, we have nothing to hide, but we'd like to know who to talk to. Is it the CFTC? Is it the SEC? What do we do? And that's why we need legislation. That's why we need market structure legislation, not because government needs to stick its nose in everything, but because there has to be some certainty here. Clearly, there's a turf war between the CFTC and the SEC, and it's Congress's role to delineate who has jurisdiction over what. Now, we did pass one piece of what you might call crypto legislation. We passed the Genius Act, as you know, Mr. President. That was an important piece of legislation, but it really was just a baby step. It regulates stable coins, which is only one part of the digital assets business. I'm certainly not denigrating the effort. I voted for the bill. I sit on the banking committee. The Congress passed the bill. It's a good bill. It was necessary. I congratulate everybody who worked so hard on it. But it's only a small portion of the digital assets market. Now we need to turn to the rest. And the House has already acted. The House has passed a bill called the Clarity Act, which does just what I've been talking about, providing some market structure legislation for the crypto industry, the digital assets industry. But the Senate, this is above my pay grade, but the Senate has not decided not to take up the Clarity Act. I don't know that it's been decided definitively, because obviously if enough senators want to, we can take up anything we want to take up. But the thinking seems to be that the Senate needs to start over and draft our own digital assets market structure bill that complements the Clarity Act, which is already passed by the House. The Banking Committee, chaired by our very able Chairman Tim Scott, is going to be taking up this legislation soon. It's got to be written first. It's still being written. We need to hold hearings. This is a complicated piece of legislation. I've spent a lot of time on it, and it's one of the most complicated pieces of legislation I've ever seen. This is just one person's opinion. I'm as a member of banking.
Who has jurisdiction? The SEC, the CFTC, or both? We've got to work with the Agriculture Committee because they oversee the CFTC, and we've got to listen to the banks, who think the Genius Act may have caused them some unintended problems. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but we ought to hear them out. We'll also have to tackle new territory, things like tokenized securities, where you can trade stocks on blockchain technology without actually holding the stock. Sounds clever, but it's tricky. And there's the question of deposit insurance. Should your crypto be insured like your checking account? I'm not saying yes or no, but I guarantee that question's coming. We also need to talk about the duties of people in the digital asset market, the brokers, the exchanges, the dealers. Do they owe a fiduciary duty to their customers the same way your stockbroker does? These are serious questions, and we better not rush them.
We're going to have to spend a lot of time in these hearings and in drafting the legislation, making sure that we are addressing things like tokenized securities. This complicated stuff. It's a way, basically, to trade a stock using blockchain technology without owning the stock. We've got to make sure we get that right. An issue will be raised, I'm sure, about deposit insurance. Cryptocurrency is, it's currency in the eyes of many people. And I can see the day when the American people will ask us to address the issue. Should deposit insurance cover cryptocurrency and digital assets? I'm not suggesting to you that it should. I'm not suggesting to you, Mr. President, that it shouldn't. I'm suggesting to you that likely would be a topic we'd want to consider in one of these hearings that we need to have about this topic.
Mr. President, this isn't the flashiest issue we'll ever debate, but it's important, because when 1 in 5 Americans owns cryptocurrency, Congress has a duty to make sure the rules are clear, fair, and grounded in common sense. So as we move forward with this digital assets legislation, I hope we move quickly, but I also hope we move carefully. Let's take the time to hold hearings, to listen, and to get it right for the American people. Because this isn't about government control, it's about government competence. Thank you, Mr. President.